Hey, this is Tony with Music Guy Online. I got your 3-minute mix fix video tutorial of the week. And today we're staying on vocals and talking about how to remove breaths from vocals, that breathing sound that you get, which can be very annoying when in some situations. What always comes to mind to me is Hootie and the Blowfish, Darius Rucker, great vocalist and everything. But I'm thinking like on that album Musical Chairs that I really like, a lot of those songs, especially like the first couple, you can really hear the breaths he takes between each take. And it's just one consistent take, but his breaths are all over that. And, when you're listening for that, it can be very distracting and you can't kind of focus on the rest of the music. But, so that can be annoying. But by the same token, on the other hand, you don't want to just kind of eradicate the breaths to the point that it sounds robotic and unnatural where, you're just cutting off the takes and, so that's the other end that you don't want to go down. So it's sort of a narrow line that you have to toe, and let's just listen to this vocal right here. So you got that breath at the end. So we can just go ahead and kind of painstakingly chop it off like that. And actually that didn't sound too bad, but sometimes that can be abrupt, and honestly that takes a long time to do. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. So you can do that. Generally, the more time you spend on kind of surgically removing the breaths, the better result you're going to get overall. Good rule of thumb is if you're listening to the track, the vocals in the context of the full mix, and you're not hearing those breaths, it's probably fine. But if you do want to get surgical, you can do what we just did. You can use crossfades right here. I'm just using the Control-Alt-F here in Ableton Live 9 for PC at least to create a crossfade, and that just rolls it off just like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty natural sounding. We can also use a gate. This is probably the easiest thing to do because it's pretty much just set and forget. Now a gate is basically just going to cut off any audio that doesn't meet a certain threshold. So if the audio doesn't get loud enough, it's not going to pass through. So we can set this threshold to be pretty low, so only the vocals and the music is going to come through, and then everything below the threshold, such as the breaths, which are the quietest, are going to get chopped off. So let's hear that. And look at that. So I just set a threshold of negative 20 dB roughly on this take right here, and we got all the vocals. And then it just chops off right here, and you can see right here in the audio, those breaths are, somewhere between maybe around negative 30 dB. That's about where they're sitting at. So if you just set that threshold, generally that's going to take care of all the breaths you have on the track. Now, the caveat to that is that you need to pay attention to your entire track to make sure you don't have any, very quiet vocals that could be missed. So a good rule of thumb here is to basically go to sort of the quietest bits of the audio of the vocal take and, find what is the quietest bit, set the threshold for, just letting that bit of vocal through, and then ideally the breaths will most likely be quieter than that and will get chopped off. And if there's any much larger breaths, they're probably going to be buried in the context of the whole mix anyway. So that's going to take care of, 90-95% of the breaths in your mix just by using a simple gate like that. And you can mess with, the attack and release and hold settings, everything like that. But generally, these stock settings were fine, and that's pretty much just set and forget it. So just keep that in mind. You can use a gate. You can roll them off with crossfades. You can go in and, like I said, just chop them off or use automation yourself to do it. Lots of different ways to do it, but in my experience, a gate or the crossfades are the easiest ways of doing that. But again, if it's not a problem, then it's not a problem. So just, listen to the vocals in the context of the mix, and if it's not bothering you, then you can leave it. But there you go. Many different ways to solve that problem. I am Tony with Music Guy Online. Please subscribe if you haven't. We do these videos every week, and I will see you next week.